Hello and welcome to another mathematics lesson. My name is Kingsley Linus. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at the topic Transactions in Homes and Offices Part 2. I believe that before this video, you must have seen the video on the Part 1 of this lesson, where we talked about tax, discount buying, installment buying. Let's go on in this lesson to see what our objective is. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to solve simple commercial arithmetic relating to VAT. That means value added tax, profits, interest, bills, and commission. In our previous lesson, we learned about transactions. A transaction is simply a process that involves the exchange of goods and services for money. Now, this can be done by two or more parties. Whenever this is initiated and completed, we say that buying and selling has been done. In other words, a trade has been done. Now, in our everyday life, we carry out different types of arithmetics. They can be categorized into four. We have personal, household, civil, and commercial arithmetics. Let's go on in this lesson to find out the transactions that take place in the office. Transactions in the office can either be categorized as civic arithmetic or commercial arithmetic. Now, under this arithmetic, we have value added tax, electricity bills, post office charges, profit and loss, commission, and discount. Now, let's find out what VAT means. You can as well call it VAT. VAT is an acronym that stands for Value Added Tax. It is actually a type of tax that is paid on goods and services to the government. Now, the goods and services that are taxable are called vatable items. Let's learn some more about VAT. Currently, in Nigeria, the VAT rate is 7.5%. That means that for every vatable good, one would have to do a calculation of 7.5% of whatever the cost of that good or service is and make such payments to the government. Now, let's look at an example to help us understand how VAT is calculated. An advertisement for a generating set says that its price is 35,500 naira plus 7.5% VAT. How much does the customer pay? Now, to solve that, we have to do a calculation where we'll find out what 107.5% of 35,500 is. And to do that, we simply multiply 35,500 by 107.5 over 100. When we do that, we would have 38,163 naira. Now, the difference between 38,163 naira and 35,500 naira is the amount that is the VAT that customer pays on that good. Now, let's look at another example to better understand how VAT is calculated. A company pays 360,000 telephone bill to an ISP per annum. Now, ISP simply stands for Internet Service Provider, while per annum means for a year. If 7.5% is the rate of VAT, calculate how much money the government receives as VAT on the telephone bill. Now, to solve that, we have to take note that the amount 360,000 naira is 107.5% of the actual amount or the actual money for the bill. Now, to go further, we have to find out what 1% of the actual telephone bill is. And to do that, we can divide 360,000 naira by 107.5. When we do that, we would have 3,348 naira 84 kobo. We can go ahead to do that by simply multiplying 3,348 naira 84 kobo by 7.5, which is the VAT rate. And when we do that, we would have 25,116 naira 28 kobo. So this is the money that will be taken by government as VAT. Now, let's go on in this lesson to learn some more about another form of transaction that could be carried out in offices: electricity bills. I'm sure you have an idea of what electricity bill is. If you consume power in your house, you definitely should pay your bills. Paying bills depends on some factors. Let's go ahead to see what these factors are. 1. The location of the customer. 2. The tariff class of the customer, the tariff rate, and the quantity of energy consumed. Usually, there is a charge that is always placed on any electric bill, and that charge is called demand charge. Currently in Nigeria, it is 15 naira per bill, and as well, electric bills are VATable. So there is always a 7.5% VAT on electric bills. Let's see an example that explains how electric bills are calculated. An electricity meter unit changes from 34,254 to 33,354. Calculate the bill if the cost of each unit is 1.50 naira. First, we must find out what the difference is from the first reading and then the subsequent reading. To do that, we must take 33,354 from 34,254. And when we find the difference between these two figures, we would have 900. So the amount of units or the number of units used or consumed by this customer is 900 units. Now we can go ahead to multiply 900 units by 1.50. That will give us a sum of 1,350 naira. This is the amount that should be paid by that customer. Of course, we have not included VAT and the demand charge. So for us to find the total cost of this bill by this customer, we must add our demand charge, which is 15 naira, and then the VAT that is payable on 1,350 naira. So we must calculate the VAT first. To do that, we have 7.5 over 100 multiplied by 1,350 naira. And that gives us 101 naira 25 kobo. So the total bill for such a customer or for this consumer of electricity is the sum of the amount based on the units consumed, 1,350 naira, and the VAT on that amount, as well as the demand charge. When we add all of them together, we would have 1,466 naira 25 kobo. Next, let's go on in this lesson to learn some more about another form of transaction that could be carried out in offices: post office charges. A post office is an office where mail services are carried out. Posting of letters, stamps, parcels, and so on. All of these services are offered in a post office. Now, the post office operates in certain manner. They have charges for various services they render. Let's go further in this lesson to find out how these services are charged. Here is a table that shows the postage rates for letters. Now you will observe that for a letter that weighs between 1 and 20 grams, you just have to pay 3 naira. Of course, Nine Post is an organization in Nigeria that handles mail services. Nine Post stands for Nigerian Postal Service. This table also shows various rates for parcels and for poundage. A poundage is what we usually refer to locally as waybill. Now, let's look at an example to understand better how postal charges are calculated. Find the cost of posting 6 letters, each of which is less than 20 grams. B. 1 letter of mass 23 grams. C. 1 letter of mass 56 grams. To solve that, for 6 letters, each weighing less than 20 grams, we can simply multiply 6 by 3 naira, and that gives us 18 naira. So the cost for posting 6 letters is simply 18 naira. For a 23 grams letter, we have our first 20 gram charged at 3 naira, and then the second or the additional 3 grams will be charged at 12 naira. That gives us a total of 15 naira. So, to post a letter that weighs or that has a mass of 23 grams, it will cost 15 naira. And lastly, to post a letter that has a mass of 56 grams, our first 20 grams will be charged at 3 naira, while subsequent 20 grams, 12 naira, another 16 grams that makes up 56 grams will be charged at 12 naira. And then we have a total of 27 naira. So the cost for posting the 56 grams letter is 27 naira. Now, let's learn about profit and loss. If you have ever been around a business person, or if you are a marketer yourself, you realize that the words profit and loss are familiar terms. Now, what is profit? Profit is simply a gain, an addition, while loss is a situation where you lose some money, more like a subtraction. When a trader buys an item and sells that item at a price that is more than what he or she buys such an item, then we can say that trader has made a profit. But when we have a reverse situation where a trader buys an item at a particular amount and sells it lower than that amount, then he or she has had a loss. Let's see, we can actually attach formulas to profit and loss, but there are special terms or there are important terms we must take note of. These terms are selling price and cost price. The selling price is the price a trader sells his or her item, while the cost price is the price for which he or she buys such item. Profits can be given as SP, that stands for selling price, minus cost price, while loss can be given as CP minus SP. It means we have a situation where cost price is more than selling price. Now, let's look at an example on profit and loss. A car dealer buys a car at 800,000 naira and sells it at a profit of 15%. Find his actual profit and the selling price. Now, to find out the profit, we have to calculate 15% of 800,000 naira. And 15% actually means 15 over 100. So 15 over 100 in mathematics, of stands for multiplication. So we have 15 over 100 multiplied by 800,000 naira. And that gives us 120,000 naira. So this is the profit that that car dealer makes. Now let's find out what his selling price is. To find out what his selling price is, if you recall the formula I wrote earlier on, we can use the formula of profit to find out what selling price is. Recall that I said profit P is equal to selling price minus cost price. But in this situation, we are interested in finding out what our selling price is. Since we are interested in finding out what the selling price is, we can isolate the selling price on this side of the equation and move our cost price to the other side. And note that this cost price is carrying a negative sign here, but when it comes to this side, it becomes positive. So we'll have something like SP equal to CP plus P. That is cost price plus profit. And that's what we have here. Our cost price being 800,000 naira and then our profit as 120,000 naira. When we sum them, we would have 920,000 naira. So the car dealer makes an actual profit of 120,000 naira and then his selling price is 920,000 naira. Lastly, for this lesson, we'll learn about commission. A commission is simply an amount paid in a particular proportion to a salesperson based on the amount of goods he or she sells. Note that it's usually based on a proportion. Let's look at an example to explain how commission is calculated. A marketer works for an insurance company. She gets a commission of 20% for any sales made. How much does she get for a sale of 284,000 naira? Now to solve that, we simply need to calculate 20% of 284,000 naira. Of course, 20% means 20 over 100 multiplied by 284,000 naira. That gives us 56,800 naira. So her commission, or the marketer's commission, would be 56,800 naira. I'm sure you know it's time to do it yourself. Do well to pause the video at this point and try out these exercise questions yourself. I'm sure you are done. Let's see what the correct answers to these questions are. Question 1 says an electrical goods sales person gets 14 kobo per naira as commission. How much commission does he get if he sells 20 radios at 4,800 naira each and 2 television sets at 61,500 naira each? Now, to solve that question, we have 4,800 naira per radio and he sold 20 radios. So we'll do that multiplication and we would have 96,000 naira for the sales of radios. And for the sales of 2 television sets, we would have 123,000 naira. Now, when we put those figures together, we would have 219,000. And then, since he gets 14 kobo on each naira, we'll multiply 219,000 by 14. And that will give us 3,066,000 kobo. So to find the value of that money in naira, we'll divide 3,066,000 by 100, and that will give us 30,660 naira for the first question. The second question says a farmer buys a cow for 40,000 naira and sells it for 33,000 naira. What is his percentage loss? Now, to do that, we will simply subtract 33 from 40,000. That will give us 7,000. So to find the percentage of his loss, we would have 7,000 over 40,000. Then multiply the result by 100. And that will give us 17.5%. So his percentage loss is 17.5%. And lastly, question 3 says, find the amount of money that the government receives as VAT on each item listed in the following advertisement. We have coffee tables at 5,670 naira, mattress at 9,240 naira, and beds at 10,815 naira. All these prices include 7.5% VAT. So to solve this problem, we will divide each of these amounts by 107.5, and then we multiply our results by 7.5, and that will give us the VAT that will be paid on each of these items. For the first item, where we have 5,670 naira, if we divide 5,670 naira by 107.5 and then multiply our result by 7.5, the result will be 395.6 naira as VAT on that item. And for the next one, we'll do the same thing. We'll divide 9,240 by 107.5 and then multiply the result by 7.5. Our result will be 644.7 naira. And lastly, we would have 754.5 naira. If these were your answers, you are correct. We have come to the end of this lesson, but let's have a brief outline of all we've learnt. First, we learnt that a transaction is the agreement, contract, or understanding involved in buying and selling. Secondly, we learnt that everyday arithmetic can be categorized into personal, household, civic, and commercial. We also learnt that some important terms associated with transactions in the office include value-added tax, electricity bills, postal charge, profit and loss, and commission. We went further and learnt that a part of the money paid for certain goods and services and given to the government is called value-added tax, VAT, and the goods and services are called vatable items. Also, a discount is a reduction made from the gross amount or value of something, that is, a drop in price made for regular customers, usually calculated in percent. Now, before you go, try out these test questions. By selling goods for 535 naira, a trader makes a profit of 7%. She reduces her price to 515 naira. What is her percentage profit now? Option A, 3%, option B, 4%, option C, 5%, or option D, 6%. The correct answer to this question is option A, 3%. And lastly, Ade got a commission of 420 naira for selling 20 newspapers that costs 200 naira each. What percentage is his commission? Option A, 10%. Option B, 1.5%. Option C, 15%. Option D, 10.5%. The correct answer to this question is option D, 10.5%. Thank you for your attention. I'm sure you've had a nice time today. Till we meet again in another mathematics lesson. Bye-bye.